Fab.
We are live. Hello and welcome to episode 23 of Healing Vibrations. And we're really live tonight, so we're live streaming. And I'm really excited to be interviewing Lisa King, who is a speaker. She's an author, she's a mentor, and she's a self-love-ologist. So tell me a bit more about what a self-love-ologist is, please.
Right. So for me, growing up, so I had no self-love. There was nothing. My journey there was a lot of trauma as a youngster, and my journey really was around self-love. And I've always wanted an ology, Gina. I promise you that. I've always wanted an ology. Self-love is my thing. I put the two together and thought, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it just sounds amazing. It just sounds amazing. Maybe at some point you could become you could have degrees in self-loveology.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about opening a self-loveology academy.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think out of all the things we could be learning at school and university, I think probably self-love is probably something that is missed sadly out of the current curriculum. But
absolutely agree.
So thank you for joining me, and thank you. So this is Healing Vibrations. This is changing the perspective of illness to see it as a gift. So how does that statement sit with you? And tell me a little bit about what comes up for you and your story with regarding to seeing illness as a gift.
I really never used to see it as a gift because it was something, I had a lot of patterns coming up around chest issues. And it was, to the point where I, as a youngster, because of all the trauma and things that were going on at that time, I was very big in sports. Sports was my escape, but I was also exceptional at it. So it was something that I really embraced very openly. And every now and again, I would develop issues with breathing, to the point where they thought I had like a nervous asthma. Was
what they called it.
Well, yeah. The thing is, though, is that I didn't actually disclose to anybody what was actually going on in my world. So no one actually knew. And if they had have done, whether that would have been picked up that it was something totally different, then I don't know. But as the years went on and the snowball effect of everything that was happening kept building and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, so did the episodes of, as in the intensity of what was going on. So I would get, I've just turned 51, literally a few weeks ago.
Wow. Very good. 51, my lovely.
Thank you very much. I'm feeling it now, which is great.
Yeah.
But up until I left London 18 months ago, and I've had 2 episodes since being here in Gloucester, that this has happened again because I've been stepping through a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff going on that has introduced and different patterns that were going on. And to the point where my oxygen dropped to below 90%. Ambulance was called, and they literally said to me, because I've got an exceptional high pain threshold because of, I just have. And and they said to me, you're struggling, you can't breathe. I said, I'll be fine. They said, we're actually going to question your mental health if you do not go to the hospital. It's at that point. So I thought, okay, maybe getting sectioned isn't my best move right now. Okay. So let's go. And I went to the hospital, and bearing in mind that it was the same thing that would keep coming up, it would be a problem with my breathing, a lot of chest infections growing up. And it seemed that they would get sort of more intense. I would have to maybe visit the hospital because my oxygen sats were dropping. This was over the years, over decades.
Right.
And I didn't trigger. It didn't trigger with me what was going on until later in my journey. And I started to understand that there was a pattern to what was going on and when my chest would flare up.
Mm-hmm.
When I started to pay attention was along my journey. So my partner took her life in 2010.
Oh my goodness!
And that was my turning point. That was the point then that I knew that I had a bit of an issue with drink. I'd drink because of stuff that went on when I was younger. was my go-to. It's one of my coping mechanisms. Drugs. I did a lot of things. I've lived a lot, shall we say. And what would happen is I would literally, all these different things were coming up for me, and then Becky took her life. And that was the catalyst for me. Then I self-sabotaged, and then not having drink, but having a lot of money to be able to buy whatever I wanted and do whatever I wanted, I self-sabotaged. Now, my body was already dealing with all of these regular occurrences with my chest. And I'm talking 6 chest infections a year it got to. And I'm an ex-personal trainer. So my body was very fit. So it's not like I wasn't looking after myself. I was starting to recognize, once Becky had died and I'd self-sabotaged, I thought, hang on, I need to do something here, because I had a choice. I could either go back to the life that everyone thought was all rosy and lovely, but I was drinking and I was doing all those coping mechanisms, proverbial people pleaser, no self-love or self-worth. Nobody would have even realized, including myself at that point. Until I then went on the journey. Once I started doing that, I started to pay attention to patterns, not only in my language, but in my behavior, which then started me thinking, hang on a second. I started then noticing that all these flare-ups were occurring when there were either triggers that were related to trauma, previous traumas, or where my body was trying to say to me, enough. You're doing too much. If you do not pay attention, I'm going to put you on your back and you're not going to be able to do anything. And it was always one or the other. It was always either, there was a lot of stress, or there was a trigger around a family situation, or, something that has come up. And I literally I thought, I've got to go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital when I was here. And the crux of it was, I already at this point had written a chapter in one of our books. I published books as well. And one of the chapters that I'd written in one of those books was about what's called conversion disorder. And I knew nothing about this until my partner, Tina, spoke to me about it. And what was
heard of conversion disorder?
Conversion disorder, yeah. And it's like a neurological disorder, but it's all to do with things that are going on mentally, manifesting physically. And it was ridiculous when I realized what was going on in my body.
Just like things started clicking into place.
Everything just went, oh my God, it's that. So it wasn't until I've been here about 17 months. I've had 3 big hospital visits. One was for my chest when the oxygen dropped. I went to the hospital and they were great. They saw me, they did loads of tests, etc. The minute they did an X-ray and a scan and they said, we can see nothing, that's when I knew. Because they were like, no, sorry, let me rephrase that. Hang on, that's a different thing. They saw on my lung. So they said there's something on your lungs, but there was nothing else coming up. And I thought, I know about this shadow on the lungs because I've already been told about this before, holistically. I've been told about this holistically. Right. And what happened, they were like, it's asthma, it's COPD. And I'm like, no, I've been told this before. They were like, this is what we think it is. You're an ex-smoker, which I was. It's asthma or COPD. And I'm like, no, I know my body. This is trauma related. I know it is. But the doctor was like, not.
Well, they don't link it together, do they?
Yeah.
No, there's big disconnects.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, no, I know my body. I know this is not. And the reason as well, and this is tying back into the spiritual side of me, a very good friend of mine who's like a little sister to me had exactly the same thing that I had experienced, but she's literally now, she's had 5 months in hospital. They started treating her for either asthma or COPD, 3 years, still couldn't tell her what it was. And I'm like, Amy, please just come and see this doctor, the holistic doctor, because she literally owns what they've said now. And now they're steroids, inhalers. I mean, she's 40 years old. And she was in hospital for 5 months.
Wow.
2 comas.
And she's not coming out any better.
None the wiser. And I was her next of kin till I moved out of London, because it's better that somebody else is closer. And it was mirroring what was happening with me, mirrored her journey. So I'm like, hang on, Lise, think about this. Look at what's happened to Amy. The minute she owned it and went into respiratory treatment, they did the steroids, they did all of that. She got worse. The medication she had to have more medication.
Because then you're taking medication to deal with the side effects of the medication.
Yeah. Exactly that. And what's happening now is they're at the point where they can't give her any more. So these and the symptoms that I had were very real, very, very real physical symptoms. I mean,
oh God, it is.
Yeah. And literally, but one of the interesting ones as well, just to sort of fall in with that, I went to the hospital. I literally was doing an interview similar to this, and I was due to do it. And I came into the office where I am now, and I'm like, something's not right with my head. You know, I was starting to not see straight, and I couldn't walk. And I called my partner and I said, something's really wrong. Something's not right. And my head's, I've got this thumping pain. Called the ambulance, and the ambulance come straight away. Straight away, they said, this is either a stroke or a brain bleed. We're pretty sure, because of everything that the symptoms.
Yeah.
They took me to the hospital, same hospital. They were like, did an MRI and a CT. They went, it's clear. And straight away again, I went, oh my God, this can't surely. But they wanted to do a spinal tap. And I refused, because I've had spinal surgery. So I said, no, thankfully, because it turned out exactly the same thing, that a trauma had been triggered. And what had happened is it had physically manifested in my body. And the symptoms that I felt like there was something going wrong, within a day I was fine. And that's the same.
Did you work through any trauma? Did you do any trauma release or anything like that?
Yeah, so I had to first understand where it had come from, because I needed to understand, because I was doing the book. So at the time we were doing our last book, so I was energetically taking on a lot of what other people were writing about and stuff.
Right. Okay. So just sort of tell everybody about the book then. What is the book of the people's stories? A selection of stories, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So everyone writes a chapter in a book, and what it was that particular book had a few stories that were quite talking about ill health and things like that, and a lot of big trauma, and some of it related to me. So what it transpires is that I've taken on the energy of that, and it had triggered a physical reaction in my body. And I'm like, wow. But the chest, if I'd have gone when I had these chest issues, if I had have believed what the doctor said, didn't question it, I would right now, and this happened in London, they said the same thing. So 2 different hospitals, both wanted to put me on respiratory treatment, steroids, inhalers, everything. I dread to think. I honestly dread to think, and I've said this to the doctors, and I've said it to my GP, I will not take medication until, the medical field, please don't get me wrong, I've had spinal surgery, so it has its place. But I really...
things they don't understand. I think they're all too rushed to throw drugs at it or to throw medication at it. But they don't understand what it is in the first place. And I think that's what it is. That's what we're talking about with the chronic illness thing as well, because you're just throwing medication at it in the hope that it will get better. And some people it does for a little bit, helps for a little while. But like you said, the long-term effects of taking steroids, the poison really, aren't they, going into your body? Let's face it.
Yeah.
So just tell us, so you talked about conversion disorder. So what actually is conversion disorder then?
So it's like, so say for example, when you have a trauma, when something happens and there's a trauma, it has a neural pathway. It's literally creates a pathway in your brain, and dependent on, you know, what was around at the time, who was there, whatever, certain things can trigger that reminder of that pathway. And for me, it was always related to chest and not being able to speak out, and because there was a lot of secrets around the trauma that was related to me. So it was, am I able to talk quite openly?
Yeah.
So I was brought up around domestic violence, and then at 12 I was raped, and so there was a lot of trauma that I wasn't able to get it off my chest. And
it stayed on your chest.
That's where it stayed, and that's where the issues with the left lung, which I'm pleased to say now, is cleared.
Wow.
Because I've went to a holistic doctor and got the help I needed.
Wow, that's thank you for sharing that. And I think that just goes to show, because I've not got any direct experience in that, but the more I'm speaking to people, the more I'm learning about it. I think there's so much in illness that is stuck in emotions that we haven't been able to release, and we haven't been able to express in any way because we didn't know how to, and it's a safety measure for our bodies to keep in check. So you know, you think that the fact that you were actually writing a book that happened to be talking about this very thing is quite amazing. Otherwise you wouldn't be here speaking to me now. You'd be in probably some hospital high on all sorts of stuff. And the actual, when you saw your holistic therapist, what was the treatment like? Was it scary, horrible?
No, honestly, this gentleman, his name's Dr. Jacobs. Oh, genius of a man. I had about 6 months, maybe more than that now, actually, about a year ago, spoke to a gentleman called Ryan Martin. So a really good friend of mine, Helen, she had terminal cancer. She also had many challenges with her health, lots. She went to Ryan, and Ryan helped her through his program with regards to healing. And Dr. Jacobs was part of this. So Dr. Jacobs I walked into his office, I will never forget. And he had, you know, like you had the old science rooms that had bottles in different places and looked like really old
and stuff.
Yeah. And he walked in, and he's got to be late 70s, got to be.
Right.
And I was like, wow, okay, I didn't know what to expect, but he wasn't who I was expecting. And he sat down, and he was a man that wouldn't look you in the eye. Eye contact wasn't great. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. And you could tell straight away this man was a genius. I'll get this feeling for people. And the tests he did, he asked me a little bit of history. I didn't go too much into it because I wanted to see what he was able to tell me. He did a test where I was fully clothed for the whole thing, other than taking my sock off. That's all I had to do. And if you imagine that these were my toes, the middle inside of my foot, he literally had a probe, and he was pushing on the inside of there and moving bottles on and off. These are little bottles like this, homeopathic drops.
Oh, like little vials, really?
Yeah. Tiny little bottles. And I'm thinking,
he's doing muscle testing. Is that what he was doing?
What he was doing was pushing the probe into there. And while he was doing that, he'd get a little bottle and he'd put it on this.
So it's like kinesiology he was doing.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. And he's like, have you had glandular fever? Bearing in mind, all he knew was that I was there for chest issue, that's all. Yeah. He said, have you had glandular fever before? Yeah, quite badly. When I was a teenager, he went, right, okay, cool. Then he said, what were the other? Oh, yeah, have you had chicken pox? Yeah. So all these things. And he was telling me, he said to me, you've got some viruses in your body. And he said, what's happening is, he said, and they were all lung and immune system suppressed. he said, have you had a lot of trauma? And I went, just a bit. And he said, okay. He said, because it was picking up mind and emotional imbalance in my body. And I'm like, right, okay. So he's doing all this. And I want to do some more tests. He did another test where he put a set of headphones on me, normal 80s style, big headphones. And I'm sat in front of what could only be described as an old 80s PC.
Right, yeah.
And all of a sudden on the screen, all I've got is headphones. I'm not linked anywhere else. Headphones on. And all of a sudden you saw a picture of my skull come up on the screen. Then you saw a picture of all the different organs and different parts of my spine, everything. And he was saying to me, if this triangle comes up, that means everything's fine. But if you see any black squares, that means that's where there's an issue. And now I know my left lung, obviously, there was an issue. He's telling me all about it. He's saying, yeah, absolutely, that's fine. So it's all very relaxed, all nice chatting. Comes to my chest, and there you see it. Left lung, right at the bottom, full of black squares. So he went, yeah, okay. Right, okay, brilliant. And all I had on was headphones. And he was able to, and he said to me, no, I said to him, can you explain how this works? And he said, well, put it this way. He said, this is what they use to test the astronauts, because you can't give them water, so they have to test them on a cellular level. And this is similar to what that is. I said, so you're telling me by putting those headphones on, you can see all of this going on in my body? He said, yeah. I'm now blown away by this, going, okay. And the other test he did was literally hand print, and there were little tiny probes underneath, and I literally had to put my hand on there, and that would tell me, all on the screen came my organs, kidney, spleen, everything. And he literally just said to me, okay, this is a little bit high, but now it's coming down again. So he was able literally to show me how my organs were functioning.
So it's a bit like the reflexology type thing where you connect to hands as well.
And I've never had any of this done. I'm an ex-PT, so I've never really needed or didn't go. And literally what that man did was he literally said to me, the polio vaccine, his words, he said, not only can I tell you what's going on in your body right now, I can tell you what caused it, and I can help you. So I went, okay. His words were, you've got 5 viruses in your body that have been dormant. So your body, considering the dormant viruses that are going on, because the immune system has forgotten to fight it because they haven't shown up. So it's forgotten. But every time there's an issue in my body, I've got this chest issue. And I said, would it be caused by trauma? And he said, yeah, categorically. So, and I was explaining, it's like, yeah. So every time it was triggering it, which then brought on all these physical reactions, which then attacked the lung. And I'm like, wow. Blown away. I was absolutely blown away by what he did. So I've been on these drops. I've not had a problem since. Bearing in mind, I was having these regular.
Yeah. So he's giving you, so what's in the drops then?
They are literally, so for different ones, one was for viruses, one was for the mind, one was for vaccines, one was for, what was the other one? There's 5 of them. But he was given, so I literally just took a few drops. Oh, one was energy because my immune system was so low. And
so what's in the drops then?
They're homeopathic drops. Yeah. And within a week of taking them, my energy, because I went to see him, and at the time was a particular time that I was recovering from a flare-up.
Maybe I need to go see him.
He is out of this world. Honestly, I'll give you his details. Honestly, I took my mum. My mum's been, my partner's been, a lot of my friends have been. I'd highly recommend him.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And because I knew, and now if anything at all, if I'm really tired, or if anything, so there's a lot going on at the moment with my dad, and he's related a lot to what was going on. So I'm like, okay, so now I check in. I check in now with myself and think, no, this is good. This is okay because I'm now aware.
It's quite interesting how you had sort of those conversations with yourself, because this week it's the symptom-free MS summit. I'm talking in it tomorrow. My bit's going live, but I was listening to a lady today who was talking when she got diagnosed with MS when she was only 19. Somebody asked her the question, why do you think you've got MS? And that's, she's like, what do you mean? Why do you think I've got it? I haven't given myself on purpose. So all that sort of, it stuck with her and she thought about it. And oh God, I can't remember the reason that she gave now. But she came up with a reason. There was a reason that was that had been going on. Oh, that was it, because she'd been adopted, and she'd been adopted into a family where the father was very shouty.
Okay.
And she always felt like always shouting at the mother, and always it was his way or the highway, and she didn't feel safe in that environment. She always felt like she was protecting her mother, and that was sort of the crux of it, and that was why it just sort of brought it about. But even just asking those type of questions, because we do know deep inside there's just, and if you can't think of anything straight away, you can just let it percolate. Why is it? And I think for me, for my MS, it's I was on the wrong path. I didn't have the confidence to say what I wanted, and it's definitely shifted that for me. It is powerful stuff. Once we get over that, we've got the answers inside of us.
Our body tells us. Our body, there's nothing like it, and it's completely unique. And when I talk about the conversion disorder, it was really interesting because another word for it is functional neurological disorder.
Right.
A friend of mine on Facebook within the last 2 weeks put this post on saying, I've just been diagnosed with this FND, and it's this is really bad because she's also got a heart problem. And I'm like, I said, hang on one sec. Literally double checked, spoke to my partner, said, am I right? Functional, and Tina was the one that said, the other word for functional neurological disorder is conversion disorder. And this was what was big with Tina's daughter. That's how she knew. She immediately got on the phone to my friend and put her mind completely at rest and went, this is what it is. And immediately, straight away, she went, right, okay, all right. So she didn't own this disorder.
No, we didn't. That's it. We've got to go and take all these medications that aren't really going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. They were like, you need to come in and have this procedure done, that procedure done, that procedure. It's like, Sharon, hang on a sec. And I told her what happened with me, and she's like, wow, okay. I said, all I'm saying to you is just question, just have a look at where this could possibly be coming from and what your body's trying to tell you. And literally, she just looked and went, this changes everything. I'm like, yeah, it does. Because now you can help yourself, as opposed to having loads of medications and things thrown at something that they are treating symptoms. They're not looking at the cause.
And of course, they never get time to really look at the cause. I mean, this lady that was on the MS Summit, she's got a practice now to help other people.
Yeah.
And, they have to spend a couple of hours with the person when they first come in, getting to know all their history.
Yeah, they're not taught it.
No, exactly. So they're never going to link it. They're never going to link it together. Whereas actually, once we know about it, you're almost looking out for the connectors, aren't you? And I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's probably patterns. You were talking about patterns. There are probably patterns amongst all of us where you get similar ones. Well, I think there isn't there? Books that sort of say certain aches and pains mean certain things on a physiological level, definitely.
Yeah, and I always look at that. Whenever anyone says to me, I've got this going on, I will go to a book and go, have you thought, is there a possibility it could be this? That's all I say. I say nothing else. Is there a possibility? And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, yeah, is that connected? And it's like, wow, okay. And that's not my thing. I'm in health and wellness. as an ex-PT, and I was a GP referral instructor, so I do understand the body, but I hadn't gone down that route until my own experience.
Wow. And it's so powerful. And actually we can work it out ourselves.
Yeah. And also get the help from people that are open. One of the doctors that I mentioned it to, he was really open to what I was saying. He was a younger doctor. He wasn't quite so set in his ways as some of the older doctors, but he was very open to, and I say that with experience of those doctors, not that I'm sort of labeling everyone. But he was really open to the possibility of listening and actually thinking, wow, that actually could be a thing. Because I was very calm with everything that was going on. My oxygen, one of the times my oxygen dropped below 90, normally people would be quite panicky. I was having a subarachnoid hemorrhage, according to the doctor, or a stroke, because it's very prevalent in my family. I was exceptionally calm. And they were like, you seem very calm. I said, because I'm questioning this. I know I'm feeling the physical symptoms. I know how real this feels in my body, but I'm questioning what's caused it. And that's when the test came back, it was like, it was as if he was sort of gone, okay, right, all right. It's interesting.
So you sort of go in with a bit of a curiosity head on rather than a fear head on.
Absolutely.
And I think if you, and like when you said to your friend and it changed everything for her, because then it's like, actually that means there's a solution. I can work it out. It's not some horrible, scary thing that's going to kill me off.
Absolutely.
It's just, you know, it's joining the dots, working out the puzzle, whatever, however you want to, the analogy you want to use of putting it together.
Yeah, and it's not blaming, it's not being negative towards the medical industry, because they're taught a certain way. They're taught to deal with illness. Well, actually, I'm in the health industry. I want to look at health, not I want to look at what the body is trying to tell us about what's happening, because the body is always, I mean, we've got to live in this our whole lives. So it's good. It wants us to live the best life. But if we're not in alignment, or we're not doing certain things, or there's something that's out,
some out of balance,
it's telling us, and that's what it's doing. It's showing us that just look at the possibility of what this could be.
So that then, and this is my words, but that then for me is the gift. That is the gift of to unwrap that self-awareness of, you know, what is it for you? And for me, it's like, I'm still unwrapping it. I don't know. There's not been an easy, obvious answer. So, but there is one.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it is a case of, I think with me, because there was so much trauma, it got to a point where I'd sort of think, right, okay, I've done it now. It's great. I feel great. But that was that pathway. Then there was something else, and that would still link to the same part of the body, but I still had to unpack it. But it's about not ignoring it. It's about sort of embracing it and being in that feeling, so that you can actually say, right, okay, when I started feeling like this, what was going on at that time? What was it that was on my mind? What was it? Was there a particular event that happened at the time that could have triggered something? That's what it was for me. And the more it kept coming up, the more I started to understand about what was going on. But more importantly, I started to understand and have compassion for me when I realized what my body and my mind had gone through. So
So when you talk about the so was it then that you started embracing the self-love thing, or was the self-love come out as a result of your experiences, or were you sort of like,
it was like do you know what my biggest act of self-love was? Giving up alcohol. I've been sober for 4.5 years.
Wow.
Like no alcohol. And at first I did it, and somebody said to me, were you an alcoholic? And I said, honestly, no, I don't think I was, but I had a really unhealthy relationship with alcohol. So for me, alcohol was my go-to for celebrating, commiserating, stressed, calm, blah, blah, blah. I would, yeah, I would.
And then it becomes a habit and part of your life.
Exactly that. And it was, and I could drink, you know, I drank from 12. After the rape, I literally went inward. I literally switched off to the world and switched off to me. And that just literally resulted in abusing my own body. And that's what I did in many different ways, from alcohol to drugs to allowing people to do things that I shouldn't, you know. And it's like,
boundaries are gone.
Boundaries were gone. There were none. Yeah. So for me, my self-love journey started when, after Becky took her life, and Becky took her life. It wasn't me that killed Becky, but I ended our relationship, and then she took her life. Right. So that was on the Sunday night. She'd been on a cancer journey. She was in remission. She was in a great place. I, at that point, said, I really need some space, because I was lost, completely lost in everything that had been going on. I'd found out my back was broken again, and I'm like, I need to just give Lisa some time. Literally, we went to bed, but we said, let's go on holiday, let's sort it out. It's probably stressed, let's just go. Next day, she took her life. So that there are no words to explain the guilt and everything. Now that then triggered all sorts of stuff going on from younger years.
Yeah.
And it was like a year of self-sabotage. Then I had a breakdown 2 years later. And that's when my body, I was at the lowest. And I thought, I need to do something. And that's when I started really big into personal development. And I would sort of add layers on and keep learning. And I would say my self-love journey probably now has been about 5 years, maybe 6. But the best thing I ever did was stop drinking. Best thing. Because I only did it initially for a year, because it was becoming unhealthy, like 4 or 5 times a week, drinking. Like, to anyone else, that would be quite a lot. Bottle of wine, shared, but a bottle of wine and 2 or 3 beers, plus it would, you know, weekends would be added on top of that, alcohol, like shots and whatever. And I literally got to the point where I thought, I've had enough. I've had enough of this. I don't know who I am without alcohol or without coping mechanisms, or, you know. So I started over those years introducing stuff. But the realization of the self-love came after I stopped drinking, because then I saw everything with very clear eyes.
But then you can see a lot clearer, can't you? Because it definitely muddies the water.
Yeah.
Alcohol. And alcohol is quite interesting. I'm not teetotal yet. I have done some abstinence, and I drink much less than I ever used to. But I've done a lot of reading about alcohol, and, you know, that mindset thing, and just the way it's ingrained in our societal, and not just ours in the UK, but, you know, all over the world. Like you said, you drink to celebrate. You drink when you're stressed. You drink when you're upset. You drink when you're sad. You drink when you're happy. And all the marketing campaigns that have come out the back of that, the champagne, you know, where did that come from? Great marketing ploy. And it's just so society, you know. And it's almost like, if you don't drink, it's a bit weird. Oh, why don't you drink? That's a bit odd.
The reactions I got were hilarious. So, for example, I love my cousin to bits. Right? He asked me to be master of ceremony, because I'm a speaker. So he asked me to be master of ceremony at his wedding. And I'd not been drinking by this point, about 18 months. He said, but you are going to have a drink, aren't you, to do that? I said, sorry, does it matter what's in my drink? He said, but it's a toast to... I said, so in my head I'm thinking, so if I used to be a heroin addict, would you say to me, can you just shoot up a bit? You know, because that's a done thing. I'm like, no, I'll have a tonic. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. If it makes you feel better, I'll make it look like an alcoholic drink. But it was really interesting. But he got it. He was great. But it's like, no. But
actually, you would have been a much better MC sober than you would have done if you were half cut.
Yeah. And also, it was the reactions of friends, because I was the party girl. I was the, you know, and I am fun anyway. I'm probably funnier now and
Yeah,
more
without,
fun because I can dance all night like I did then, but I don't feel crap in the morning.
yeah, and you can drive home.
And I can drive home. And
Yeah.
it's been interesting people's reactions, because one of the funniest was when someone said, well, are you going to have fun then? Wow. I said,
Yeah.
what? I said, and I love this person to bit. I said, I think what you might need to do is actually look at your relationship with alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because you talk about having an unhealthy relationship. Well, really, any relationship with alcohol is probably unhealthy,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
alcohol is not exactly a healthy
Mm.
thing to have on. So if you're having more than the odd glass every now and again, it's probably an unhealthy act. And it doesn't take long before it starts creeping in. I think
Absolutely.
I don't know, but I've certainly been in a place where you sort of think, actually, yeah, this is becoming more of a habit. And I remember in lockdown, I had to make it a rule that I only drink in a social thing, because
absolutely.
the lockdown then sort of brings us all in and gets everyone drinking a bit more.
It's like that boiling frog, isn't it? It's like, you know, if you were to sort of put a frog into boiling water, it'd jump out immediately straight away. You put it into lukewarm water and gradually heat it up, it'll go, oh, just that little bit more, just that little bit more, just that little bit more. It's the same with alcohol.
Yeah.
Same with anything that is not good for us. If you just drip feed it, and I won't go off into a tangent, drip feed it, then that's what happens. People go, it's only a tiny bit. But if you look back 6 months to what you did before then, you're like, hang on a minute, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And alcohol masks so much. It masks so many issues and creates so many more. Massive.
Yeah, definitely. So well done. So was that difficult to give up, or was it really making the decision and that's it? I'm done.
And do you know what? Do you know why? Because I had a big enough reason. You know, when they say if you've got a big enough why, your resistance will be I had a big enough why, because the catalyst, to be fair, was that on 5 occasions I had drunk beyond like ridiculous amounts, and I became my dad. In that, mind you, I was never physical. I would never physically do that, but he was physical. But I spoke to my wife at the time and around people that in a way that was like not me at all. I couldn't remember anything about it. And then I was told about it and I went, whoa. So I immediately then apologized. I'm like, I don't even know what to say. And literally I said, that's it. That's it. I'm not, if that's what alcohol is doing, I need to stop, because there's obviously a reason why I'm allowing myself to drink that much, and I need to deal with that. So I did that and I stopped alcohol, and it's the best thing I ever did.
Yeah. Wow, incredible. So well done. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very proud of that, because from the age of 12 up until, how old am I now? 51, 46, 47.
Wow.
A lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm surprised my liver didn't leave my body, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, it's you're doing something right, because you do look fabulous. You always, we haven't known each other very long, but your energy is always there.
Thank you.
And so tell us a bit about your work that you're doing now. What's
Oh, I love what I do now. So when the world changed a couple of years ago, I used to run health and fitness. So it's always been my thing. And towards the end, I was doing sports coaching. I had a sports coaching business, but I also had got into empowerment. So I would go into military bases and work with predominantly the women when the soldiers were away, training the kids and also training the women health and fitness wise, but also empowerment. When I lost all of my income, all of my businesses went, everything, when the world changed, what I then did is thought, hang on a minute, I need to sort something out here. And I knew that my journey, I didn't go through, all these things didn't happen for me to do nothing with it. It's like, Lise, you've been through all of this for a reason. You now need to help people who need to do what you've done to feel the way you feel. So that was it. I started helping. So I go into schools, and one of my most favorite things, I speak in schools teaching young people about self-mastery, understanding boundaries, loads of different things. So do that. I do mentoring. So I mentor quite frustrated entrepreneurs, I would say, that literally want that help to just elevate their businesses, but more importantly, understand self.
Yeah.
So I also do that.
It's a massive thing with entrepreneurs. I'm learning with entrepreneurs that because it is all us, isn't it? We are the business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm doing that. I'm also starting a brand new business, which is to help tradeswomen to not only be amazing, they're amazing with their hands, but also to help them with the business side of it. Cool. So I'm doing that with my partner Tina, who's an ex-award-winning tradeswoman, and a speaker. So we're doing all of that. I do the mentoring. I've got my own group, Your True Self, which is all about self-love. So that I do. I'm about to do my first online self-love discovery workshop. Can't wait. I've been buying the stuff for the gift box. Very excited. Very excited. So there's
face-to-face workshop, is it?
Yeah. So this one's going to be online because I've got some people abroad that want to do it. But I'm also going to be delivering a day event, all about self-love and reminding ourselves when enough is enough. You know, there are times when we've got to take our foot off the pedal because there's only so much that our body can take. So all about self-love. I do mentoring, I do speaking. I've got a publishing business, so we publish books, and we've got co-authored business book coming out. Got my book's coming out, The A to Z of Self-Love. It's all a bit busy, Gina.
Wow. Well, I know. Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So anybody on Facebook? So your Facebook group, who's your true self? So who's that for?
Your True Self. It's for men and women who literally need reminding that we are really important, because if we're not at our best, all we're doing is giving everyone what's left of us. We're not actually giving them the best of what we have. So we do.
Important, isn't it, to fill your own cup up first?
So important, and it's a cliche, about the
oxygen mask. Yeah.
But it is so true,
isn't it? You can't help anybody without any. Without the oxygen.
And it's also for people who will always help others first, but forget to help themselves.
Yeah.
It's for business owners who need reminding that if you're not looking after yourself, you're going to burn out, and then you're going to be out for months.
Yeah.
It's for people that need reminding that they are bloody amazing, and they're unique, and they're special. So it's all about understanding you. I've got a guest speaker coming in on Monday, all about the power of healing. Cool. She's the lady that got me into doing wild water swimming.
Yes, I like a bit of wild water.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Cacao ceremonies, all the beautiful things that you can do for ourselves.
Yeah,
are really enjoyable. So she's coming in. She's an ex-nurse, so she literally has been in the pharmaceutical industry, an ex-nurse, and now holistic.
Great. So we've got a whole view of
whole lot. Yeah. She's a member of the group as well, so she's coming in to do that on Monday. We've got somebody coming in a couple of weeks doing generational trauma. So it's about looking at the whole. We've got so many different people coming in because I want self to be embraced. It's for people who need reminding that some of the beliefs that we have are probably not even ours.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you start digging through your beliefs?
It's all about emotional health, physical health, mental health. It's all about, for me, my life purpose is the well-being of humanity. I know what I'm here to do. I am here to help change the well-being of humanity. I know that.
I knew there was a reason we met.
That's my thing. Of course. Yeah. And there's, I want to help people. See, even the dog gets it.
Even the dog gets it.
And for me, it's about showing people what's possible. Ask questions. Put yourself first. Ask the right questions so that you can create your own choices for your body and your health and your mind, and be able to collaborate and connect with people that can help, can support, I'm all about community. It's a big thing with me. So,
Yeah.
and I haven't really done anything on Facebook. It's more building word of mouth, because for me it's not about growing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. It's about getting the right group of people together that are going to help change the world.
Sounds good. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you, I know you, what's the best way of finding you?
So my email address is lisa@clarityfocusandgrowth.com.
Okay.
That is going to be changing shortly, but at the moment that's the one to get hold of me on.
Okay, well, I'll share that put it in the link.
Yeah,
as well.
fantastic. And Your True Self is the name of the Facebook group.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and definitely go along to that, because Lisa shows up there quite a lot, and she's it's the energy's good.
Yeah,
and sorry,
it's going to be ramping up as well, because
cool.
There's going to be loads of things happening. We're having a social where we're going to have an online party, because a lot of people love to dance and have fun, and I'm like, right, for those that want to, we're going to do that. We're going to have people can be DJ, so you can put your own few songs on, and we're just going to meet and have a dance and a boogie online, because you can.
Sounds good. Absolutely. Why not? Yeah.
Random, I know.
Yeah, we like a bit of random.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're coming to the end of I can't believe we've coming to the end of nearly an hour already. So thank you so much for sharing your story. It's been enlightening, I would say. And anybody who sort of feels some resonance in anything that Lisa said, it's about, like you said, asking the right questions to yourself. So don't be afraid to ask yourself some deep questions. Get your journal out, start writing. And I find once you start writing, stuff comes out, doesn't it?
I journal every day. I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely, it gives you a whole load of clarity, and it's amazing what stuff comes out. You read it back sometimes and think, oh, I know some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's definitely worthwhile. And I always like to end the Healing Vibrations broadcast with some sort of little exercise or mindful. Have you got an exercise or something that you can share with us?
One thing that I love to do around health is when my body at times has not felt 100%, let's say I might feel like I'm coming down with a cold, or I might be feeling quite tired or something like that. What I like to do is a visualization exercise where I am literally, I will sit or stand, and it's all about being able to picture yourself and feel the best that you can feel. And it really does impact my health the next day. So I generally do it last thing at night. Yeah.
Can you talk us through that? We've got about sort of 7 and 8 minutes.
This will take 3 or 4 minutes. Okay. So sit nice and comfortably. You can sit or you can stand, but I want you to be as relaxed as you can and close your eyes. And what I want you to do is, firstly, I want you to look at yourself and feel where you are feeling your absolute best. So it might be that you want to look a certain way, you want to be in a certain place, you want to be able to see yourself really healthy, really wonderful smile, your skin is glowing, you're looking absolutely amazing, you're dressed exactly as you want to be dressed, and you are in a place where you are having lots of fun, you are enjoying, you may even just be being, but you are looking, feeling amazing, you are dressed, whether that is dressed in the most beautiful outfit or whether you are literally naked and just laying in the bath, whatever you're doing, you feel great, you feel healthy, you've been eating amazing foods, you're feeding your body exactly what it needs. And I want you to look at what's around. So where are you? Take in where you are. It might be a nice hot bubble bath and you're having a pamper. You might be walking through a nice forest where you've got flowers everywhere. Think about what it is that you can see. Really take in what that view is around you. And I want you to now start thinking, what can you smell? Is it the bubble bath? Is it that you're eating some beautiful food and you can smell the aroma of the food, or you can smell the flowers as you're walking through? But I want you to take in exactly what everything looks like. Who's with you? Are there people with you? Are you on your own? Are you walking through with your dog through a beautiful field? There's gorgeous trees, and you feel light. You feel amazing. And what I want you to do is, not only do I want you to picture what you can see, I want you now to embrace, truly embrace how this actually feels for you. So you're feeling amazing. You are in a place that you've wanted to always go to. You are around people that you want to be. You are laying in your bath with not a care in the world, and you are smelling the candles. You are feeling the bubbles. You are feeling the mask you've put on your face. You've all that treatment that you've done. You can feel it. But I want you to now take in how that's feeling in your body. And what I want you to do is imagine you're now turning up a dial and you are ramping up how this is feeling for you. So you now are just absorbing the amazingness that you're feeling. You're still seeing, because it's important to see what you can see, but add on that feeling. Keep that feeling going and ramp it up a little bit more. So turn that dial up that little bit more and absorb how this is feeling. Keep it going. Keep absorbing how this is feeling. You can still see what you can see. You can still feel what you can feel, but you're taking it in all the more. You're enjoying it. You're absorbing it. You are absolutely embracing every minute. And I want you to remember that when you start feeling at any point that you need to take some time out, think about what you're seeing now and go and do that. Or if you're unable to actually physically do it, do exactly what you're doing now and bring yourself to this place that you can remember right now, this feeling, so that you know that in your mind you are now telling your body that everything is exactly as I want it to be. And I'm feeling amazing. And when you're ready, open your eyes.
That was very nice. Thank you very much.
Right, I did. Yeah, I did. That just came out of
Absolutely, just came out of and it is, because it's such a powerful thing, our imagination, isn't it? Because I've started playing with this a little bit more, because at the moment I'm still not walking very well. And one thing that I can't do, which is really quite interesting, it's like my body's forgotten how to jump.
Okay.
You know how when you jump, you bend down with your knees, and obviously you bend your ankles as well, and mine feel really stiff and hard. And then if I try and spring up, there's no spring. I can do it from holding onto a chair or something.
Okay.
So what I've been doing is trying to use that imagination. I've done a similar thing to what you did then. I recorded myself, imagining myself with a skipping rope, jumping when I was a kid. I used to have big skipping ropes with you turned and you jumped in the middle, and just imagining myself that and trying to really feel. And I don't find visualizations easy, but just because it's not easy doesn't mean to say you shouldn't do it. And it really, I haven't, even though it's one of those things I know, it's only the last week or so really I've been using it as a daily practice. So it's definitely worth, and I shall report in how it's going. But it just makes you feel better, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I believe from the point of view of telling our mind, because our unconscious mind doesn't know what's real or not. So if we're saying to our body, right, this is what I'm doing and it feels amazing, etc. It's saying, oh, okay, this is real because they believe it and this is a real thing. I now need to find other things to bring in that will be able to reinforce that. And when I've done it, I've always felt better the next day.
Definitely. So thank you so much for sharing that. That is a really good exercise, and I would recommend recording your own little version, get a little, use your phone to record it so you can listen to your own voice saying what you want and what's in your, you know, your vision of you living your perfect moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is really powerful. It really is. And it's, I'm one of these. I'll give anything a go once. So
excellent. Well, thank you once again, Lisa, for coming here, showing up live. I don't know who's commented or anything because I don't know how to work the machine very well.
Oh, there's Kathleen.
Oh, you can see it.
Yeah, because I know it was on private chat. I just went to comments and saying thank you, and you're amazing. Love this.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice. Thank you. And where's the comments then?
So over on the right-hand side, you've got private chat.
Oh, comments. Look at me. Yes, thank you. Hi, Kathy. Thank you.
Love it.
Right, that brings us to the end of the hour. So thank you very much for listening, everybody, and go away and do some amazing visualizations of your perfect moment and see how amazing you can feel. And if you need to get hold of Lisa, it is Your True Self Facebook group. And if you want to say the email again,
it's lisa@clarityfocusandgrowth.com. And with the Facebook group, it's called Your True Self, and then in typical me style, unmasked, undeterred, unstoppable.
Of course. Thank you very much. I will see you next week.